We're speaking now with Butch Thompson, who is the head baseball coach at Auburn University. Coach, we visit about Bigger Than Ball and the foundation. What does the Bigger Than Ball Foundation mean to you?
Bigger than ball, the foundation for me. Um, I saw the vision of Will Lowry and wanting to provide a space, a connection. Coaches are always investing in young people, in their players, in their community. But who is there blessing the coach? And I think that was the vision of Will. And if we can pour back into coaches, then as those coaches are out on their mission fields with their teams and their communities and their school, their university, if we build a better coach, if we keep lifting the coach and keep giving him, strength and courage and knowledge and information, then that's going to make a better leader at the end of the day.
The foundation founder, as you mentioned, Will Lowry, said when he was dealing or when God was dealing with him about starting this endeavor, that you were the first person that he spoke to. He called you and visited with you about this idea. Can you talk about that and what went on?
Yeah, when Will first reached out to me with the bigger than ball concept, I'm from the area, so even though I'm coach at Auburn University, I'm from that Northeast Mississippi corridor, I guess, where Will's from. And I was coming home from Thanksgiving. He asked, "Will you be home for Thanksgiving or over the break?" And I'm like, "Absolutely. Come see mom, dad, and the family." So we decided to meet at a breakfast spot, and he pitched me the idea of bigger than ball. I think just as a test, is this something that's needed? And within 5 or 10 minutes, it was a good pitch. And I'm like, absolutely. That's an untapped space of investing in the coaches to be, again, not only better coaches, but better people and stronger people. And if you can take time for yourself as a coach and you can connect with other coaches that are going through the same challenges, struggles, um, things that you're competing with, if you got other men that are dealing with that, you can gain so much by connecting to them. And I just, and it's not just a coach's thing. I think Will, since the time that we've met, it's kind of endless, the roads that are possible for bigger than ball to go down, because every time you run into a coach, you run into another idea of who you can bless, who you can make a difference with. And so all these spin-offs now, since it started from that initial vision of Will's pitch to me, you can start seeing bigger than ball partner with others. Um, I think of Tony Robichaux, who we had a we had our first big clinic over in Tupelo, and hearing him speak, it made me a better coach. And he's no longer with us, and but we had a great leader of men to be able to share with other coaches. I know myself and Mike Bianco and John Cohen, the AD down at Mississippi State, just Will pooled all these great resources together to share with coaches in our area, in a few states. And that's why I think his vision is also to keep carrying this around the country. And even though it started in this area, there's so many great leaders out there. And I bring up the Tony Robichaux because his presentation as a leader and as a coach, it inspired me to, even though I was there speaking, I sat in the audience and listened to these men, and I carried a ton of great ideas back to make me a better coach at Auburn.
Let's build on that then, Coach. You talk about those ideas to be a better coach. We are living in a society right now, I mean, even today, which is becoming increasingly disparaging to fundamentally moral values. How are you able to walk out and live out these values before then your players and your staff?
Yeah, just it starts with us, which is right back to the big ball deal. For me to be able to handle today's society is to make sure I'm more equipped than ever. It's changed in my 3 decades as a college baseball coach, but it's still principles. A lot of these ideals and things shift in the wind, but these principles and values and truth, it really hadn't changed.
Mhm.
If you think about it, it's it's still there, and I just think of being equipped to respect all, and but I think that's a value that I've held from growing up. So respecting everybody. We get an unbelievable opportunity. I know in my space, I get an 18 to 22-year old um, to invest in, and to be honest, most of our guys come from loving, great backgrounds, and I'm getting them at a very distracted time when they leave home for the first time in many cases. And I have parents that are trusting me to finish them off in becoming a man, and and you can't take that lightly. And you must be equipped to be able to, especially now, to answer all these unique, complex questions that's coming their way, to help them stay focused on what's the most important thing. I keep saying what's important now. If you want to win, you need to focus on what's important now. And it's amazing this day and time. Winning now has a lot to do with what you give up and
Yeah.
what you limit and what you don't allow in. And so we have to build a very good culture now more than ever that helps them do the things that they came to our university to do, and that's pursue a degree sincerely, to be a better man and make a difference in their community and learn skills that they can continue to practice for the rest of their life and to be the best baseball player they possibly can be. They came to play baseball and to grow into that. Most of the young men that I have, they came when we the same dream, like when you're 8 years old and the visions of sugar plums dancing in your head. They're dreaming of being a major league baseball player. And with all the distractions today, you have to understand if that's really your pursuit to make a difference, to sincerely pursue a degree, and to try to become a major league baseball player, there's not a lot left at the end of the day to spread out your time, because to really build your mind, your body, your soul, your craft, and your team, it is a huge, huge investment that you sign up for. And our parents are trusting us to do that with them being away from home at a very unique time. So we have to be on our toes, and we have to use all the resources that we have around us to continue to educate. But I've always thought that another reason why bigger the ball is so important is if it's functioning properly, uh, the college, the high school, the athletic experience, being a part of a team, has a chance to be the best class you ever take. It teaches you how to work with people, how to treat people, how to overcome adversity, in so many ways. If you're functioning properly and you are doing the right things and you get who you are, not always who you want, and you form a team. Um, I know it was that case for me. And I know so many people can make an argument. I know I have one of my daughters is specifically running off to law school, so she may not agree with me. But for me personally, playing college baseball, being a part of a team, has been the greatest recall for me as I get into situations. So it wound up being the best class that I take. So continuing to empower coaches and grow coaches basically is a great way to go to keep helping with next generations of young men that we're turning into to real men and husbands and fathers.
Wow, you described that very well. I think you answered two or three of my other questions just right there in the midst of that. And Coach, I agree with you too. You know that the Scripture talks about the fact in one translation, where it talks about where there is no vision, the people perish. Another translation says where there is no vision, no revelation, the people cast off restraint. And just what you described there, if you want to be that person you mentioned, you have to restrain yourself. You can't just do whatever comes down the line. And I like the way you mentioned it too, that if you're doing everything you're supposed to be doing, you run out of time at the end of the day to do the other stuff anyway. You restrain yourself to that vision. Well, Coach, then if you would, and I know that we're talking about what it is to be this coach and the support that a foundation like Bigger Than Ball means. Describe to me then what a successful day is for you. I know that you're looking for the W at the end of the day, maybe two of them on a doubleheader day. But can you describe what a successful day means to you?
A successful day for In my position as a college baseball coach is, there's an in season and out of season, and those are different rhythms. Um, and I mention that because the in season, you mentioned W's and L's. They're very important when you remember the Southeastern Conference, and when those seasons get going, um, there's two things happening. There's one where you're continually trying to sharpen your axe with your team. How can I continue to make my team better? You kind of wake up with that thought. I really put on our guys with going through all this COVID and this pandemic that we're separated. This is probably the least amount I've ever had a face-to-face connection or a
Mm.
hands-on coaching of a team than any time in my career has been now. Um, and I just reminded them when I speak to them how important I need to get to the point, and I need to give them something strong. The biggest thing we hit on this year was the first five and the last five. The first 5 minutes of my day, is trying to get pointed the right way where I need help. I need my father to help me and to walk
Mhm.
with me during this day. Um, and I understand that everybody's at different points and times in my organization. If I have 50 people between players and support staff and etc., that all means something different for them. But it's also a good time to check in of what do I need to get accomplished today? And we've been working toward trying to get to simplicity, one, two, and three, as opposed to trying to do the 100 things that sometimes the world wants you to get done now, immediately.
Mhm.
So for me, it's more of getting on my knees. For me, it's more of one, two, and three, and then a last 5 minutes as I wind down my day, reviewing that, getting back on my knees. How did I do with my one, two, and three? Um, and then what came up during that day of people that I need to be thinking for as I start building into my first five the next day. Um, but really, it's just everything in the middle of that first five and last five is to try to. I'm here for my players. I remember my father right at the end of his life when I was given this amazing opportunity to be the head coach at Auburn. He was like, "Man, I messed up so much stuff with raising you, and Dad was hard on me, and he would take me to Dairy Cream when I pitched good or hit good, and then when I didn't, he would just drive around the Dairy Cream and not stop." And you know, 35 years later, and he's at the end of his life, uh, and I'm getting this amazing opportunity to coach and lead. He gave me the best advice I've ever gotten. The first thing he said, "Hey, I'm sorry about Dairy Cream." And I said, "Man, I would never change anything." But as I was walking out the door, because the next day I was accepting the position at Auburn, he was like, "You love them. You love them with all your heart, and you'll be successful." He gave me something simple,
Mhm.
and he gave me one of the most profound things that I recall on. We're in a season now where, um, the last full season we had, we go to a College World Series. We're in a moment right now to where it's hard to win a ball game, and you go through all these things. And if I could keep it simple and stay focused on what I'm doing between the first five and the last five, just continue to make a difference, continue to help them build a craft, and continue to love my players, that everything's going to work out. And so I love and I'm appreciative and I'm thankful for my father today, that during my hard times, he gave me a very singular encouragement at the end of the day that I can hold on to during tough times. I want our players to have that. I want them to be able to have that one thing that they can hold on to get them through, because the one thing I hadn't figured out as a coach yet, where I've still got to grow, is where I can't protect them from adversity. I
Right.
can't stand in the box and have that at bat for them. I can't go back and find that wall and catch it. I can't with this when it's a 3-2 count and the game's really screaming for you to call. And need to throw and execute and locate a breaking pitch for me to be able to perform that skill for them. But I can love them like crazy until they get to those moments and can win those moments.
Well, Coach, I appreciate that. I've learned a lot today, and I appreciate you. Success to you then as you endeavor to do those things that you mentioned. And I wish you well in that. Success to you and your team this season and beyond. And thank you, Coach Butch Thompson, for visiting with us today here as we talk about bigger than ball and what it is really to be a blessing to other coaches and know that it is bigger than ball.